So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to find um, two consecutive odd integers. Now, in my previous video about consecutive numbers, integers, I've talked about consecutive integers without saying whether they're odd integers or even integers, okay? We did not say odd or even, we just said we just said integers, okay? Now, there's a difference when it says odd or even, okay? Because what you need to remember is that, okay, well, if we say consecutive integers, now in my previous video, I explained that if we start with 2, the next one will be 3 because they're just consecutive integers. 4, 5, and you keep going, okay? All right? Now, if we say odd integers, you have to make sure you don't use the even numbers, okay? Because we're saying odd, okay? So let's say you started with something like 3, which is an odd integer, right? If you started with 3, the next odd integer would be not 4, but 5, okay? Then the next one won't be 6 because 6 is even. It would be 7, then 9, then 11. Then you keep going, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, since we're saying odd integers, what's the pattern here? What do you realize? The first one is here. To get the second one, what did we do? We added 2 to it. To get the third one, we added 2 again. And fourth, 2. You keep adding 2. So to get the next odd integer, you have to keep adding 2 and 2 and 2. So what does that tell you? It tells you that so if you need an integer, 2 consecutive integers, odd integers, you don't know the first one, so obviously we're gonna call it x. So let the first integer be x, okay? Therefore, the second one, to get it, you're gonna have to add 2 to x. That's what we just proved. We just showed that to get the next odd integer, you have to add 2 to it. If I needed to get the third one, I would have to add 2 to this, okay? Keep adding 2s, okay? Now, what we know, since we only needed 2, so I stop here. What we know is that the sum of the 2 consecutive odd integers is 148. So we can have that equation then, okay? The sum, so we have the first one, which is x, plus the second one, which is x plus 2, okay, is equal to negative 48. 148, by the way, okay? So all I have to do is solving for x, okay? So that's x plus 2 equals to negative 148. I have to add like terms, so 2x plus 2 equals to negative 148, okay? Then I subtract 2 from both sides, okay? Then I'll have 2x, cancel here, 2x equals to negative 150, okay? All right, then you divide by 2, so both sides divided by 2, then you have x equals to what? X equals to, let me see if I have enough space here, canceled here. So x equals to negative 75, all right? So negative 75 has to do, okay? Now, once you have x, this is the first one. You know, this is the first odd integer. That's negative 75. Then the second one would be x plus 2, which is x, which is negative 75, plus 2, which is what? Negative 73. Therefore, the two numbers are negative 75, two consecutive odd integers are negative 75 and negative 73, okay? Negative 75 and negative 73. Those are the two consecutive odd integers. One thing I need to point out here is that if they had said something like even, okay, instead of odd, it would still work the same way. You would still have to use x and x plus 2, because to get even integers, you still do it the same way, okay? You still have to add 2. So for example, if I call the first even integer 2, okay? The second even integer would be 4, right? Then the next one, 6, then 8. What do you see? I keep adding 2 the same way, right? So therefore, to get even integer, you will have to do it the same way. Put the first integer as x, the second one as x plus 2, and so on and so forth, okay? You would still do it the same way, and you would get to the positive, to the even integers, just like you just got to the odd integers, okay? So that's why I only solve one with odd integers, because you use the same technique to get the even integers, okay? It's still x and x plus 2. You don't have to change that. Be careful. You only have x and x plus 1 for integer if it's not odd nor even. But if it's odd or even, you got to put x and x plus 2. You have to keep adding 2's. So let me state this. If they just want you to find consecutive integers, you need to keep adding 1 to get the next ones, okay? But if they're saying odd integers or even integers, consecutive odd or consecutive even, you need to add by 2. Keep adding 2, okay? So odd and even, you keep adding 2's, okay? That's how you do it, all right? Thank you.